Hey everybody, and welcome to Coffee Catch-Ups. What a pleasure it is to be here, and how exciting. Can you believe it's Christmas next week? Isn't that an exciting prospect? I mean, it's all go in my house. My kids are so excited. They're just getting to that age where they get super excited this time of year. We got an elf that's cruising around my house in the evenings doing all sorts of naughty things. Bit of a laugh, and it's very exciting time in terms of Christmas time, but also very exciting today because I've got a guest that you guys are going to absolutely love. Not to put any pressure on her, but I know that you'll love hearing from Bella. She's a big part of the Wealth Mentor family. She's a great soul, and we're really proud to have her joining us on Coffee Catch Up today. So let's make sure that everything's working correctly. Bella, are you there?
Hey, Jono. Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi, nice to have you on, and very exciting to have you come on and tell a little bit about your story, but also tell a little bit about who you are as an individual and some of the cool elements that you've got and what you do for people's lives, which obviously we're big on here at Wealth Mentor. So I'll hand you the floor. Give us a little bit of introduction as to who you are.
Well, thank you, Jono, and hi everyone that's listening. So who am I? I'm a mum. I'm a coach, a mindset coach. I'm also a yogi, and I'm, I suppose, a beach devotee. So I think that would really sum it all up. I've had a lot of experiences in life, and in my middle age, I'm pretty excited to be looking for the next, years ahead. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one of the things I really enjoy is the energy that you bring to anything that we do. We have a meeting and you come in with a nice positive energy and you bring that to everything. I think that's that's something you should be really proud of because I used this word for Carol the other day. It's infectious in terms
it's a
of the energy.
buzzword at the moment, isn't it, Jono, to be infectious? Yeah. I've got to be a bit careful. Thank you.
So you mentioned the fact that you are in the habit space and the mindset space and coaching there, which is really cool. But can you give us a little bit of context to what that actually means, and also it means to you, because it's very much you as an individual that's producing this content.
Yeah. I think, look, I describe myself as a habit mindset coach, and the reason for that is that working with people around their habits, ultimately what happens is that we shift their mindset. So we shift their mindset from fairly strong automaticity, and I call them a habit robot. Like they're doing things day in, day out, and they're not conscious of what they're doing. And that's the idea of it. Our habits are created by this incredible piece of engineering to not make it conscious, so we don't have to think. But that's fine if everything you're doing leads you to be, your healthiest and happiest and safest self. If it's not, then as an adult, I believe it's our duty to sort of take a little bit of time to reflect on what is the whole loop, as in what are the triggers and what are the rewards, and then deal with the behaviors around that, not just be focused on changing your behavior alone, because more often than not, your behavior is linked to a trigger and linked to a reward. So if you got to just go in and change the behavior, you'll set yourself up for a little bit of discontent further down the track. So really that's, as a coach, my role is to help any human that wants me to help them to identify with that framework and see what they're going to do about it.
I love that. And in terms of best version of yourself, I mean, you summed it up there in a few different avenues, but becoming the best version of yourself. But often I think there's sometimes an element or something that'll happen in terms of giving someone the idea or the concept that they need to make a change, or they identify that potentially they aren't becoming the best version of themselves. Do you have some elements that often trigger this, or is there something that you see more common in terms of people starting to identify that they're not being the best version?
Definitely it's emotional. So emotional management is actually probably the key element I work with my clients with, funnily enough. But so it's an emotion that generally drives them to want to seek out support for change. And so, and when I'm talking about emotions, generally the negative is emotions. I haven't really had too many people come to me going, oh my God, I feel so good. Can you help me? I think maybe they're on drugs if that happens. But I help people on drugs. But yeah, so it's more that they'll feel anything from frustration, mild frustration, to anxiousness, to sadness. But it's an emotion that they just no longer want to live with. That really is the catalyst for change. Unfortunately, they also may have well-meaning humans in their life that have seen that they need to change. But I just want to say at this point, it's actually no one else's business about someone else changing. So sometimes that can actually be the wrong approach. So I don't often have people, I think I'm lucky actually, because I don't have people sit in my space and go, oh, such and such said I better change, I'm here, because they're not at a point of change.
Yeah, and I guess it's also important to have that buy-in. You need to put the buy-in that you are going to make the change as well. We see it with any of the spaces that we're in at Wealth Mentor, whether it's educating in property, whether it's educating on the habits or changing something financially. You need to buy in to then make the changes to then become the best version as well. So in terms of how you led to this space, can you give us a little bit of a backstory as to how you ended up into this space, and also probably include in that how you ended up becoming a part of the Wealth Mentor team?
Yeah, definitely. I've led, look, ironically, my role as a coach has probably been something informal to me most of my life, even at school. I probably had that desire to hear people's stories and question them about, oh my God, why are you doing that? Like, asking them the questions, and that's the role of a coach. I don't tell anyone what to do. I question and feed back to them what I hear, then they choose from there. All husband and I had made a really deliberate choice to really improve our financial position, and we love property, and we really got on board because there was cash flow positive properties in New Zealand, and instinctively negative gearing just doesn't work in our mindset. So that really drew us there back in we've learned about it is actually a way of thinking. Like it is second nature to us to assess a property, to look at it in the like a really simple framework. I mean, really what you guys have given us is what I give my clients, a really simple framework to be able to assess a property and, look at the strategy, look at the area, look at the property and just see whether it fits our needs. So yeah, a lot of different backgrounds.
Yeah, wicked. And so I did have a bit of connection issue, so I missed a few of those elements. But if I think it was at my end. So if I repeat anything, I apologize. But in terms of the messaging, I guess the key messages or the elements that you love to show people or help people through, what would be some of the things that you find, I guess, key elements or key concepts?
Yeah. Probably the first concept is that we have an over-reliance on willpower. So people, if people are at a point of change, so they've got a level of discontent in a relationship, with money, with their job, classic example, you have to get to a point of needing to change. And with that discontent, we've sort of been told to, just harden up, move forward, take the biggest chunk you can possibly do, and just use self-discipline and just do and do and do. And we have this over-reliance on willpower. So the key message around that for me is to let people realize that our habits, so the whole mechanism to create habits, is part of our biology. So if there's something that you really, really, really want to do, turn it into a habit, because then you never have to think about it again. So, we use a little bit of willpower to establish a habit, but we don't rely on it, because willpower, it's the most fascinating thing. Willpower is like a muscle, and we use willpower from the minute we open our eyes to the minute we shut our eyes at night. And it's not around everything you think. When you hold back and don't say something in a meeting, you're using willpower / self-control. So if we're going to use willpower to lose weight or get our finances in control, we literally run out of the resource, and then we fail, and then we give up. So if there's something really important in your life that you want to create and bring in, can you bring it in as a habit? That's the first question. Probably the other really cool piece is that if you want lasting change, you actually have to think differently. If you think the same way and want a different result, there's plenty of quotes out there that will tell you that's, insanity, but it's really true. You've got to think differently. And so you've got to, if you can't find a way to think differently, find humans that do and be in their space. It's really that simple. Immerse yourself in their thinking, but be prepared to do something you've never done before. And I call that adventurous actions. Something even as tiny, but just something different, because then that creates a whole raft of new neural pathways in your brain, and you can move forward. But yeah, they're the two main things.
Right. It's actually really interesting. I'm learning some stuff as well. I'm quite enjoying this coffee catch. It's brilliant. So in terms of the creation, I'm going to come back to the willpower and the creation of habits. Is there a rule that would work for most people, or is it very much individualized? Like, what is the transition across from willpower to becoming a habit? If that makes any sense.
So the main thing to create a habit, there are three elements to the habit loop. There is the trigger. So that's the cue that your brain will automatically see or hear or smell or feel to then do the routine or the behavior. And that when it's first established, there's always a reward. So we don't do anything in the habitual space without originally there being a reward for it. Even something that doesn't serve us, there was a reward to begin with. So this is why there's a whole heap of things I could explain on that. But so when we talk about shifting from bringing willpower in at the beginning, the most important thing is to identify your trigger. So say, for example, is there any habit that you have that you would love to bring in by any chance, or one you want to break?
Oh, good question. Yes, I do. Sometimes when I'm busy with something, and then all of a sudden I'll just tap off and I'll pick up my phone.
You're the only person on the planet that does this, Jono.
I would imagine so. I mean,
they were never designed for this.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a classic example. So what you've just described is the habit language is when I will. So what I heard was when I am bored with what I'm doing, or I've had enough, or I want a break. So when I have a break from my task, automatically you are picking that up and boom. You don't think that way. It's bored or exhausted, boom. And the reason we do it is it's like, someone's curated the content. I don't have to use my executive function. And that's what a habit's about. It's fabulous. So if you want to break that, the first thing is for you to have known what that trigger is. So the trigger is either boredom. It's either boredom, or you've actually done enough cognitive function, or you've got to a point in what you're doing that you're in a high problem solving space and you've got nothing left. Okay. So this is actually the reward for this is a break from thinking. Great. So now you know that trigger. There's a couple of really simple things you can do. One, get it out of your line of vision. If you do not want it, set your environment up for success. Okay. The other thing is realize that trigger is going to stay. People think, so you could just say, I'm going to stop being the sort of person that picks that up. Rubbish. You won't that way because the trigger's there. So my thing is you know at some point you're going to get tired, or you're going to get bored, or you need to problem solve. So what else could you do? Tell me, what else could you do? Obviously, you're in the office. This is an example in your office. Yeah. Give me just what's something else that you could do to replace the phone?
Some sort of exercise, or go for a walk, or
Yep.
pop my head out the.
Literally, the simplest thing for you to do, and there's a whole raft of things we can do with this, is number one, next time you get in the office and you want to explore this, leave the phone in another room. So for you to get up to it and go, then that will be a choice, opposite of a habit. Okay. But the other thing for you to do is think in your head, okay, I want to change this. So don't make it too big. Going for a walk is quite a complicated change. If I were you, I would literally say, I'm going to get up and I'm just going to touch my toes and I'm just going to stretch and then get back down in your seat. Something as simple as that, that's not going to require something else. But now that you and I have had this conversation, number one, you're going to be more aware than you've ever been that this is why you're doing it. So there'll be change. Number two, you will start to look at things in your office that are more enjoyable to you, and you still want the reward, because remember, the reward needs to be you still need a break. So don't try and willpower out of it. Oh, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to touch it. What do you reckon you want more than ever? Is the phone. Is that?
No, it's interesting. No, that's good. That's good. And I think it's I really like the fact that you talk a lot about the reward, and it's actually, I guess, looking at it in terms of picking it up as it's not a negative thing. It's rewarding yourself for something that you've done, and it's probably identifying that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, even if you put that phone in another room, if you don't have it and you do your work and then you stop and then you stand up and you go to the room and you pick the phone up, that is a choice. It is no longer a habit. You're not on autopilot. And that's one of the biggest things clients, once they start to realize they can start choosing things, they feel more control and more power. And so you can still look at the phone. The phone's not the issue. It's the fact that you had got into an automatic behavior around it that didn't really, match what you want, the sort of person you want to be. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Bella. So just send me an invoice. Just Office at Wealth Mentor.
Easy peasy.
All right. So in terms of you, though, as an individual, hugely inspiring, great energy about you. What do you feel like your purpose is, though, within, obviously you've identified the fact that you can help people in terms of with their habits, and it's a niche, you've got a real talent there, but, your bigger purpose in terms of what you feel like, Bella Reynolds is going to do for this planet.
So beautiful question, because I've finished 8 years working on a mining contract and, basically working with 99% male population across every part of life, from how to remove a porn addiction, how do I get better relationships, how do I get my finances sorted. So I get a choice now, very much moving forward next year. An area that I'm very passionate about is assisting particularly millennials. And the reason I say that is that I love working, that's roughly the 25 to 40-year-old space. You guys are the absolute, you are our future. And I love working with millennials. And I'm really particularly passionate about financial procrastination. And what that I've found out with some of the habit hacks I've been sharing is that it's such an important area in our life when we choose to live in a capitalist world. And yet there are so much negative beliefs, negative money beliefs that go on out there. And so people can hold themselves back without even realizing it. So I suspect one of my biggest things moving forward is to hopefully empower particularly millennials to really get the financial mindset for themselves. And that's probably the last piece to this, is that no one can tell anyone else how they should be. I'm a big believer in that. Everyone is unique. Their path to financial freedom is actually their path, and it needs to be their path. So I think that's something as a purpose moving forward. And my own background, I have got major stories of how I've had to deal with that myself. So I suspect that's why I'm a big reason I'm on the planet, as well as
Yeah.
to be a brilliant grandmother whenever that
Oh,
happens.
brilliant. Brilliant. And I know, speaking from personal experience, my mum absolutely loves being a grandmother. It's like she's absolutely, if you ask her, it's her greatest achievement. She's so proud of it. So, yeah. And she'd probably be watching this, to be honest. She's my biggest fan as well.
Well, I'm going to be that with my children and my kids right now. When I share this, they are going to be cranky as me for bringing it up. No pressure, guys, but you know that I'm there when you're ready.
Oh, it's brilliant. So Bella, you've been doing habit hacks. I've been checking them out on social media. That's such a cool idea that you've come up with in terms of being able to help people through social media. What was the inspiration behind it, and what's, how have you enjoyed the process of going through it?
People who know me know that I love the word enema, and I feel like it's got me to in an enigmatic process to get a lot of client success stories out in one hit. I love the thought. It was an advent calendar, so I really wanted from December 1 to December 25 to showcase some of the stories of my clients, and I wanted to showcase that it is the simplest, smallest things that people have done that have shifted them enormously. For example, just the habit of listening to a podcast was enough for one guy to literally change his financial trajectory. So that was the inspiration behind it, and I've loved it, and I love the fact I get really gorgeous feedback on different topics in ways that I'm surprised about. So yeah, it's been a really good process. It's my last 5 are actually going to be more summing up what a habit mindset really is about and what I've noticed clients have got in their journey as a client. But yeah, some pretty amazing topics. I mean, I'm very grateful I've been able to share some of them too, because we don't often talk about, watching porn, and we don't talk about if you have a partner that's got a drinking problem and you choose to stay with them, and you don't talk about anger management issues as a dad, so, and I think we need to talk about all that stuff. So.
Oh, 100%. And these are on Instagram. Is that the best place for people to catch them?
Yes, all on Instagram and Facebook. Yes, across the socials.
Yes, brilliant. And I can see that the tech team has put your website up there. I take it that you can find your socials through the website.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
And I love the fact that we're chatting across the ditch here. I mean,
how's technology? Cool. This is pretty cool.
Love it.
Pretty awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do miss my Aussie friends and my trips over to Australia, but it is awesome that we're able to do this, and we're able to, I guess, share the knowledge and the elements that we can with so many people. And it's, what I've been really proud of with Coffee Catch-Ups, getting positive feedback, exactly like you have, about the positive impacts, or people having bad days, watch Coffee Catch-Ups and change the way that it's perceived, that it's their days end up. So it's pretty epic what we're able to do. And that probably brings me on to my next point, which is the transition of Wealth Mentor, and you've seen the transition as well. You've been a big part of it, myself, and I've also had a lot of support from Kyron, who I know you're a big fan of his work. But the whole element that we can bring wealth accessible to everybody, and wealth meaning so many different elements, and you're a part of that as well. I mean, what's it like, I guess, being part of something that we've all got this big purpose of being able to get out there and change things, and I guess making wealth accessible to all through Wealth Mentor.
Look, I still marvel that this is, where I'm at, and I'm even having this conversation with you today, when I consider in January this year, I never, I didn't preempt this, on any level, but I think what it shows that when you continue to stay connected with humans that are kindred spirits. So, the irony is, we got in with Wealth Mentor to assist us for financial freedom, and then, then to go, supposedly. And yet, because I think it is such a beautiful community, you get in, you're with people who are wanting to solve similar problems in their own way. And so inadvertently, you evolve with what's coming and what the offerings are. And I think that's what I love about what you're doing, Jono. Particularly, I mean, we're in this almost the end of the second year of this pandemic, and it's fascinating to see the pivots, dare I say it, that have had to happen. But as you know, I'm a big believer in, you don't get what you want in life, you get what you need And so if you're, for this community, we're all just continuing to evolve with the same intent. So that's a big part of it. I'm really looking forward to next year. I'll definitely be creating programs around habit change under the platform, which I'm pretty happy about.
Yes.
And also keen to hear what people are looking for around that space, and because it is about making it accessible for all.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the cool thing is with the different humans that we've got amongst it, the team is everybody comes from a different background, has a different purpose, and for everybody it's about being able to help people out there and achieve their own goals. So make sure you actually, if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, drop in the comments and let us know what you think about the elements. So actually, Bella, we are in the last bit of testing stages of the platform, stage 1, and there's a couple of your stories and blogs on there, and they're really excited about getting that out to the community. So it's not too far away. So we mentioned the word wealth. And, it's really important, obviously, that we understand the concept of wealth, because wealth, like we say, is different to everybody. But for you, what is wealth? What does that word actually mean to you as an individual?
So there's 2 key elements for me. Number 1 is freedom. I definitely, in my business journey, let alone my personal journey, I don't like to be locked in. I like autonomy, and I like the fact that I do it my way. So it's freedom and it's health, and particularly my age and stage, and also working in the health field for so long, bucket loads of cash mean nothing. If you are, if you get a diagnosis that you're going to really spend years, hopefully years getting over, it's not palliative. So for me, it's freedom, it's and it's health, and having obviously the financial capability to do what I want to do. But ironically, it's not a volume of money. That's actually more a mindset of abundance. And I know that people could think that's a bit woo-woo-y, but it is. It's having a mindset that I have the resources to do what I need to do and get what I need to get. So
it's brilliant. It's very well said. All right, I'm going to give you one last word, though. Last word for everybody out there listening. I can see there's a few people on there live. A couple of cool comments coming through. I'm sure the tech team will bring them across the screen in a minute. But I'm going to give you the last word before we finish up and go and, I guess, lunchtime from us here in New Zealand, probably almost not too far away for you there, but go and grab some lunch. So last word, over to you, Bella.
My last word. You're going to give me the last word?
Oh, of course. Well, I'll finish up with my saying, but I need to give...
Okay, what's my last word? Okay, my last word is that I hope people spend, particularly the last week of this year, reflecting. Don't just jump into 2022 without spending some time to reflect. Really have a good think and look and feel for what the year was, and based on what's gone well, what could have gone better, what is 2022 about, and put it in the whole picture. If it's goal setting, it's not just about the cash or whatever. It's how do you want to feel at the end of 2022. So hope that was a nice little wrap up. Yeah, but thank you also. Major gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us. I can see there's some really cool comments coming across there. I'm sure people will get a lot out of this coffee catch up. I certainly have as well. I'm going to go pop this phone down somewhere else, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm really proud to have you a part of our community, and can't wait to see what we smash out next year.
Yeah, ditto. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful, beautiful Christmas over there. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Bella. Guys, have an awesome afternoon. We'll see you on Thursday, which I will be doing a wrap-up of 2021, bit of a Christmas special before we end up for the year. It'll be my 50th episode on Thursday, which is super exciting. So have an awesome day, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. And most importantly, stay awesome, everybody.